Well, a New York Times piece on the White House helping Congressman Nunes making headlines everywhere. But a Fox News report on an Obama official unmasking Trump associates gets ignored. So why is the mainstream media avoiding the story? Here to debate, contributor to The Hill, Kristin Tate, and Democratic strategist Evangeline Gomez. Thank you both for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kristin, I'll start with you. What do you think is going on here?
Well, if you ask the media why they're ignoring this story, they'll probably say it's because all of the facts aren't out yet. But all of the facts are not out yet in the Russian collusion story, but that doesn't stop them from covering that around the clock. The bottom line is that the media is ignoring this story because they flagrantly despise Donald Trump. We saw that during the campaign, we saw that on Election Day, and we've seen that every day since. And, you know, as the story is growing legs, it seems like Trump may have been right when he initially tweeted that he was being monitored. And, of course, when he first tweeted that, the media went out of their way to make him seem like he was crazy and inaccurate. Yeah, but now that it seems like he's right, they won't report on it.
But nobody's reporting the very latest. And apparently this surveillance and the unmasking actually started well before POTUS was, in fact, the nominee. Evangeline?
The issue here is, look, we've already heard from the FBI director that there is no type of support, no evidence for this wiretap claim that Trump has made. Number two, this unnamed source, who is unnamed source, one source, has this source reached out to other media outlets? We don't know. So there are a lot of questions, and so I think we have to make sure we don't get distracted, and that the real issue here is finding out whether or not Russia had an influence on our national election.
Yeah, well, the mainstream media definitely has used their fair share of unnamed sources. You could say that as well. Kristin, so in terms of following the story through, what do you think the impact will be?
Well, I don't know if the media will follow the story through. You know, we're talking about Russia. Again, there are a lot of holes in that story. There's no evidence or proof that Russia affected our election, but that does not stop the media from covering it. The fact is that the media will report anything that makes Trump look bad. They will report any stories that are negative about Trump while ignoring stories where it turns out Trump was right or that make Trump look good. This is just media bias at its finest, and I think people are starting to wake up to it.
Let's move on to what's happening this week, Evangeline. It's a big week ahead for the president. He's looking to get Judge Neil Gorsuch confirmed.
That's right.
Will there be a Supreme Court showdown forcing this GOP nuclear option to take place?
Well, there doesn't have to be. I mean, this is something that can be avoided completely. Look, there were a lot of Democrats who initially came out and said, we don't take a position as to whether or not we're going to support him. We want to have confirmation hearings, and we want to find out more about Gorsuch. For example, what type of decisions he had, his legal philosophy. And so that occurred. But what happened? What did we find out during the confirmation hearings? One, we found that based on a lot of his decisions, he supports big corporations over working people.
But
look at the frozen truck driver case.
Are they looking for reasons just because of President Trump? Because a lot of these Democrats had come out previously and they liked Gorsuch. They said he was a great guy. Kristin, and then I'll let you answer.
You know, Gorsuch has an impeccable record. He will be sitting on the court within a matter of days, but the Democrats will probably force the Republicans to use the nuclear option with a partisan filibuster. The 52 Republicans are set to vote for Gorsuch. They just need 8 votes from the Democrats. But what probably is going to happen here is Chuck Schumer will allow 6 or 7 Democrats to support Gorsuch, and these will be Democrats who are up for re-election next year in states where Trump won. This is just a partisan play by the Democrats. By doing this, they will give coverage to vulnerable Democratic candidates who are up for re-election while blocking Gorsuch from getting the votes he needs. The Democrats will go out of their way to sabotage Republicans.
It seems to be shaping up that way. We do know 3 Democrats so far that say that they would vote in favor. I'll give you the last word, Evangeline.
Thus far, but the issue is this past Saturday there were protests everywhere in Cleveland, Chicago, and in Denver. There are people, I mean, the people, us. There are people who are saying we don't want Gorsuch. And I think senators have to look at their constituents and say, okay, what is it that my constituents want? We even saw it with Lindsey Graham. There were people at his town hall who, I guess you could count the number of people who supported Gorsuch who said yay on one hand. The majority of the people there were against it. So this is something that is really important. I think it's also really important that during the confirmation hearings you had a SCOTUS opinion that came down that was against what Gorsuch had decided while he was on the federal court.
You also have to always question these protesters and exactly what they do or do not know and their reasons for protesting to begin with. Kristin, Evangeline, thank you both for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.